to work together.
Yeah, so I started off, I thought, I was going to be his lawyer.
Before Paul Rosenberg started his prestigious career as a talent manager of Goliath Artists Inc., before he was an attorney and CEO of record labels such as Def Jam Records, before Paul Rosenberg co-founded Shady Records along with Eminem, before becoming Eminem's entertainment manager and lawyer, before amassing his net worth of $90 million, before all of the fame and glory. What is Paul Rosenberg's story?
Yeah, obviously, it wasn't a straight path, though.
Paul D. Rosenberg was born on August 1st, 1971 to a Jewish family in Detroit, Michigan. In 1996, he formed Goliath Artists, a talent management company. It was also how he met Eminem the following year, agreeing to not only be his manager, but also his lawyer. Paul Rosenberg, the son of a Detroit area attorney, grew up infatuated with hip-hop and briefly pursued a rap career of his own on the Detroit scene before getting into his law degree. Still, management seemed a more desirable path than drafting contracts.
So my job at that point was go find him a record deal.
He interned at some labels and soaked up all the knowledge he could about the music industry. He said at this time, back then, he was taking on way too many jobs, but it clearly worked out as it got him where he needed to be. Hard work does pay off, and in this case, believe me, he worked pretty damn hard. Before he began managing the best-selling rapper of all time, Slim Shady, Rosenberg was an attorney, hustling in Detroit and New York, but always intimately connected with the Detroit rap scene. Later on, he was a boutique label owner, film producer, and finally, major label boss.
Almost literally, right?
He grew up in the Detroit suburb of Farmington Hills, surrounded on all sides of music and the arts. His attorney father was a jazz hobbyist, and his mother, who had a theater background, taught music at their synagogue. Young Paul first heard hip-hop thanks to his older brother. He credits two seminal cuts, the Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight and The Message by Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five for kickstarting his hip-hop obsession.
On the stage, they just don't care. I can't take the smell.
Medical school seemed to be a practical next step, though Paul Rosenberg intended to pursue his own rap career simultaneously. He landed a deal with a label owned by Pistons bad boy John Sally. He started off pre-med at Michigan State, but he struggled with chemistry. After some initial resistance to following in his family's footsteps, he made the decision to ditch medicine and pursue entertainment law. During his Spartan years, his rap group collaborated with label mates Slum Village, and Rosenberg, known as Paul Bunyan on the Detroit scene, found himself working with now legendary producer Jay Dilla. Despite his reservations about devoting his life to drafting contracts and taking calls from other lawyers, Paul felt a certain passion in his music and rap expertise qualified him for a role in the business. Business management appeared to be the ideal path. While studying at University of Detroit's Mercy School of Law, Paul Rosenberg spent his summers interning at BMG and Polygram and founded an entertainment law society. Paul really wanted every bit of knowledge and information about the music industry he could get his hands on, and he worked hard at it. This was said by UD law professor Howard Abrams. He also said one of the nice things about his success is seeing that this kind of hard work can pay off, that it's not just a crapshoot. While attending an open mic night at Hip Hop Shop, a clothing store that would turn into a freestyle battleground after hours, Paul Rosenberg was asked to check out a rising underground MC by acquaintance Proof, who thought that the aspiring artist might just need a lawyer. In this intimate Detroit venue in 1996, alongside a dozen or so other people, Rosenberg witnessed his first ever Eminem performance. Marshall Mathers described the evening to Billboard. He said, "I stopped rapping for probably 6 or 7 months. It just felt like it wasn't really going anywhere. We were living in the attic at Kim's mom's house. I hadn't heard from Proof in like 3 months. Proof called me and he was like, yo, write something. Come here tomorrow and say it, and if you don't like it, you don't ever have to do it again." It was like 10 or 15 people. Paul Rosenberg knew he was in the presence of a serious talent, but he also understood that the kid was still finding himself as a rapper. His first interaction with Mathers was buying his newly released cassette, Infinite, a few months later. As Eminem continued to develop his craft, Rosenberg completed law school and moved to New York to study for the bar, while maintaining his close relationship to the Detroit rap scene. Not long thereafter, a Detroit friend urged him to check out Eminem's latest unreleased material. "I was really blown away," he recalled of the tape. He called the rapper directly and requested it. "I realized that he had found his voice, he stopped being so self-aware and self-conscious, and just sounded like somebody, for the better lack of a description, who didn't give an F." Rosenberg called Eminem and asked if he could represent him. M said yes, beginning the partnership of a 21-year and counting relationship. "I was excited to have anybody listen to me and take me seriously," Paul told Complex. Paul Rosenberg spoke about his friendship with Eminem Eminem. He said the two got closer because both of them really didn't have any money, so they would just crash on his couch until they figured things out. And that's how they became so tight-knit. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, legendary hip-hop producer Dr. Dre was attempting a career renaissance after splitting from Death Row Records. With Jimmy Levine's guidance, Dre inevitably found what he was looking for. As legend had it, Jimmy would play him cassettes from his garage, scouring for talent to help resurrect Dre's career. On the recommendation of an intern, Jimmy picked Eminem's tape from the pile. Soon thereafter, Jimmy and Dre flew Eminem to Interscope Santa Monica HQ. Rosenberg explained the attraction to the iconic West Coast label, saying, "We knew what M was doing was going to be met with some controversy. The place that had Dre and Snoop and Tupac and Marilyn Manson, it was a good match." While finalizing Eminem's deal with Aftermath, Interscope, Rosenberg looked to an experienced biz lawyer for guidance. The lawyer not only mentioned Rosenberg, but would later rent office space to the aspiring matcher, who was now out of his day job at a personal injury firm and newly flush from his Interscope deal. Paul has always been a no-nonsense, straightforward businessman, said Eminem's agent Kara Lewis of the Kara Lewis Group. "When I first met him, he was a young up-and-coming manager/attorney with a new client named Eminem. He was well-versed, well-spoken, and at the same time a massive hip-hop head who truly knew and loved the music and understood the culture." Along with flagship act Eminem, Goliath artists had guided the careers of rappers Action Bronson and Danny Brown, both of whom had since become fixtures on TV. At the moment, Rosenberg is guiding the career of Eminem, while manning the ship that carries Kanye West, Justin Bieber, Big Sean, Logic, Nas, Pusha T, YG, and Alessia Cara, just to name a few. As is often the case, the biggest prizes go to the biggest risk takers. Follow us on Before They Were Famous for more videos like this. What do you guys think about this dynamic dude? Let us know in the comments.